Is this the beginning of the end of the culture war? The England team's success and ultimate defeat in Euro 2020 has been a deeply revealing moment, not just because it allowed us to peer into England's soul and to actually consider what it is to be English, but because of the deep cracks it has exposed in the culture war being waged by Boris Johnson's government. From the moment Priti Patel referred to England players taking the knee as gesture politics and Johnson struggled to call out the fans who booed them, these cracks began to appear. When the three players who missed the penalties during the final, Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho and Bukayo Saka, were subject to vile racist abuse, we saw those same cracks deepen even more. And while Patel and Johnson were quick to condemn it, England player Tyrone Mings was almost as quick to call them out. You don't get to stoke the fire at the beginning of the tournament by labelling our anti-racism message as gesture politics and then pretend to be disgusted when the very thing we're campaigning against happens, he told Patel. By calling them out, it wasn't just the government's hypocrisy that Mings exposed, but the link between the daily battles that make up the culture war and the horrific consequences, the barrage of racist abuse it creates, racist abuse which Mings, Rashford, Sancho, Saka and others experienced, regardless of their other privileges. In this pitched battle of their own making, Patel and Johnson have lost. But who were they trying to appeal to in the first place? White working class people they hope will vote against their own economic interests and be captured by wedge issues such as identity and race, or the underbelly of racists and trolls who reared their heads again in the wake of England's defeat. Either way, the dog whistles have become clear for all to hear. Conservative peer Saida Varsi said as much when she warned Priti Patel directly, if we whistle and the dog reacts, we can't be shocked if it barks and bites. It's time to stop the culture wars that are feeding division. Dog whistles win votes, but they destroy nations. And we've heard these dog whistles before, referring to black people as pickaninnies with watermelon smiles or Muslim women as letterboxes and bank robbers is par for the course with Johnson. None of these remarks have been condemned by Priti Patel or any other person of colour in the cabinet whose personal experiences of racism should not be used as a shield against racism manifesting within the government itself. In fact, some Conservative MPs have voiced their concerns that the culture war is going too far, including the former chair of the European Research Group, Steve Baker. But the culture war has always been a mythic battle, and so it was always destined to collide with reality in the end. There is a certain intangible nature to debates about dusty and distant institutions such as museums and universities. Arguments about statues and empire don't have the immediacy of entertainment or sport, particularly football. And it's this cultural power that the England football team possess, their ability to inspire and excite and unite, that has been completely miscalculated by Patel and Johnson. Having pushed their culture war from the political realm into the mainstream, they are now confronted with a popular fight back. And outside the Westminster bubble, people are far more engaged by role models they see on the pitch than whether Rule Britannia should be sung at the proms. They see footballers quietly taking the knee not as some political comment on economic theory, but a straightforward act of solidarity with people who've experienced racism and prejudice. What Euro 2020 has exposed is that this war on woke is not only not resonating with the public, but that it is a smokescreen for a divide and rule campaign which has come to typify the Johnson playbook. But in taking this battle onto the football pitch, Johnson and Patel have exposed the key to their own downfall. When Enoch Powell made his infamous Rivers of Blood speech, the UK was 97% white British. By the 2011 census, the percentage of the population who were not white British had risen to 20%, and this could be as high as 30% in a decade from now. And this is what the England team have reflected back to us this summer, a different England to the one Johnson and Patel have been trying to sell us. The future of this country is diverse and confident and progressive. The team have also demonstrated before our eyes the power of the collective, of the community. Debates in this country are too often binary. You either believe in X or you believe in Y. It's either all about individual agency or all about structural issues. And yet the players have shown that both can be true. Marcus Rashford and Tyrone Mings have the ability to stand on their own 2 feet, but as part of a team, they and the country have come together to achieve something bigger. And in this way, the three lions do ultimately transcend the culture war and give us hope for a better Britain, because their power, their reach and their wider support is the antithesis to the government's neo-colonial divide and rule and the war on woke of GB News and the tabloids. So no matter where they attempt to take their culture war next, Boris Johnson and Priti Patel are fighting a losing battle. In these dark times that we find ourselves in, it's all too easy to feel passive and disengaged and hopeless. But there is something you can do. If you like the sound of a fearless, independent media outlet really trying to shine a light where the mainstream doesn't, then do sign up to Byline TV. You can hit the join button on YouTube or subscribe on Patreon. You can be part of driving meaningful change.